All right, so a quick confession. If you look up at the date, you'll notice that some time has passed, and I crashed the economy. I ran out of money while I was off working on an oil rig, and we ran out of food, and two-thirds of the population moved away. Most unfortunate. I have, in the time since, brought most of them back. I believe there are a few dwellings, these ones, that are still rather empty. But we're back to almost 400 peasants working at the oil refinery. So we're back on track. It's only a minor setback. Just took a few months game time to restore the oil stocks. What had happened, essentially, I had ticked a box poorly. So when loading, you can have the option to wait until loaded, which is great if you're just shipping things around. But if you're waiting to be loaded and the power goes out, and the only way there's going to be more power is if the train goes and drops off, but it's waiting to be full, it'll never get full because there's no power. So instead, you need to make sure that any train that you require for your power supply needs to go run off to market anytime the power cuts out, just in case. So you have it set that they will load whatever they want to load, and they will load a full train's worth, so long as there's no interruptions. But if the power goes out for any reason, they'll both go running off and sell. So there you have it. You need to keep an eye on your money, otherwise you can't import meat and bread, and your people will starve. At some point, we will build a farm to provide more food than these people could ever hope to eat, but until then, we're just going to import it. So what else did I work on? This is the other thing. I did actually try to start making a video, and then I forgot to hit record. And so there's a bit of infrastructure that I've developed. And, yeah. I don't have any record of it, so I'll show it to you now. These coming out here are a cargo line going in and out, and a electric rail which will be used for passengers coming in. Here, the lines split off and go through a mountain pass so that we've got access to our NATO friends should we need to sell them some stuff for some dollary dues. But this is an interesting intersection that I've got planned out. None of this has been paid for. All of this is just plans that, at the moment, is set up for my own workers to build. But because rail layers are so inefficient, I will just be using rubles to pay for it all. But I've got 3 bridges set up here, passenger line, 2 freight lines, and they will be going over this area in an overpass so that no one ever needs to stop. Hopefully. There are areas like this where the freight train cuts across the passenger rail line, and I've got the rail signs spaced out in such a way that the freight line should have priority. It should be able to shut down this, and that the passenger line will shut down. The passenger cars are very lightweight compared to tons of oil, and the electric cars are very fast and efficient, so they regain speed quickly. That's why I like using the electric cars for passengers, so if they're doing a lot of stopping and starting, it doesn't really slow them down, or at least not as much as some of the other options. So this cargo line splits off, goes off down here, gets dropped off. I haven't finished the switchback on this, but there'll be a way for them to then come back down this way. up here, underneath the rails, and then turn around and come back to town, which is off down here, without ever having to stop, which is nice. The other reason this overpass is here is these two lines. Again, one of them has to cross the passenger rail, but hopefully I've got the rail signals timed out that a passenger train won't interfere with the heavier freight trains, and the freight trains can just roll on through. You do this by spacing out here the signals, so you have more than one chain signal. So and actually I should bump this chain, or maybe get rid of it. At any rate, playing around with the chain signals, you can get it so that the heavier freight trains will always pass through, because a lighter passenger train will have stopped beforehand due to the way that the signals are spaced. Anyways, I'll wait until I've got a working version before we get into that too much. But we've got the 3 lines coming over 3 lines, and these 2 lines will, eventually, the 3 lines buckle down to 2 and run out all the way over here. Now I've raised up the terrain, which is something that trains often do in real life, but I don't know if I picked an appropriate height. It's pretty high. It's like a little mountain. But this is where the oil field is. There is more oil than these 3 stations that haven't been built yet. But this is where it'll all, for this area, be brought to. So, trains come in, come to here, fill up, loop around, and come back. I've got construction offices dotted around because they're what did the land terraforming. Because all of this land terraforming would have been very expensive if I was paying rubles for it, but when you buy bulldozers, it's free. You just go in, be like, I want a little hill, make sure that neither of these 2 boxes are here so you don't bankrupt yourself, and then these guys will just come out and make you a hill. Little bump in the middle of the prairie. Not bad. Alright, so this little bit of infrastructure was fun to make, and I wish I could have shown you me making it, but next time. There'll be other overpasses. So this is the next rail line. It is going to what will be the second oil field. We're a ways away from that, but again, none of this cost any money to lay down, so it doesn't hurt to plan. And it's nice to be able to plan ahead, so you don't end up with funny, weird whatevers. So, back to town. Turn on the speed. We've got a bit of money to play with. We've got a monument to our submarine, our red star, our shining star, and yes, the population crash really cleaned out the classrooms. I have not had a problem with overflowing schools since losing 2/3 of the population. Almost everybody's back. We're up to 4,500 people again, and a higher percentage of these people are educated now. We had 3,000 uneducated people, and it just wasn't great. We still have 460 unemployed. Not great, but our productivity as a society is at 93%. 94%, we just went up a percentage. Great. See, things are getting better all the time. So, it would be good to have a power plant, and we've got 250,000 rubles. how much is it to just straight buy the bitumen power plant? Oh, I really don't like how this is all faded. Why is all of these faded? If I go over it, it becomes easy to see. That's great. Why not have it easy to see, and when I go over it, fog it out? Anyways, early stages. So, my bitumen is stored right there. I would like it to come in, therefore, like that. And I can replace that. Wait, how much is this thing? $500,000. Cool. Oh, that's just expensive enough where it's almost worth starting with the factory. No, just start importing oil and just pay for everything in rubles for now. Still early days in the game. It's 1961, so inflation hasn't really gotten out of hand. But I kind of like how I've got this set up. This is where the line from town, the new town, not this town, the town that I will build, will come in and drop workers off along here and here to work at the bitumen plant and to work at the oil refinery. It'll then circle back down around and head off to what will one day be the iron? Was it iron? Yeah, there's iron mines down there. I guess there's coal over there as well. I was going to build the coal out here in the middle of the prairie just because building in the mountains is a pain in the ass. But there's no source of iron in the prairie, but these hills that I've so conveniently built so close to have much iron. Much iron. So I can build iron mines through here and hook it up to this. Oh, why can't I see my cursor? There we go. Hook it up to the infrastructure lines that are bringing oil. I can run iron ore on as well, because I'm trying to make it so that everything, once it starts rolling, can just keep on rolling. I don't know where I would stick the iron processing yet, but at least I've got trains nearby where I will collect it from. So we're sitting at just under 400 employees. Man, 100 people without a job still. It's because they're not educated. Oh, wait. No, everybody's got an education in this building. Go work at the refinery. What's wrong with working at the refinery? It's perfectly... Go get it... I don't know why they don't want to work there. People are still complaining about the church. It'll be a cold day in hell before I provide a church to these people. No, none of these industries. Alright, so we've got $250,000. Let's start building some of this train infrastructure. I like how I've got it all looped. It doesn't cross itself. The passenger lines stay untangled. If you have to get two train lines to cross each other and you don't want them going through each other, you want to build an overpass for them, always get the passenger train to go over. So, I don't need the passenger line built yet. I do want the oil delivery line built. So we're going to start making our way. Always remember. Oh wait, I don't need to buy oil. It's too late. I'll take my handy tanker. goes here, fills up on petrol, and it will be now responsible for filling up the trains here. So, I do have this lower track is an electrified track. It's going to go through the refill station, because sometimes you want a regular train going on the electrified track. Doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes it happens. Better to be prepared than to be in a situation where the electrical lines are dead and you're in a shitty situation. Ooh, nice long lines. Yeah, gotta keep an eye on that budget though. It's very easy to go broke building lines like this because you're paying for it as it's going along. You can see the budget just deplete. Oh, didn't need that one yet, but trying to stick to just the lines that I need. So, oh wait, that was the one that I need, is it? Oh wait, here it is. Yeah, it's way by. Underpass. It's nice also with the way that I decided to do this. Don't have to pay for the bridges yet. They can just stay as plans because bridges are expensive. Oh, so is this... Oh, yeah, we're gonna cancel this. It is 2/3 of the way done. Let's stop building it because we're down to $18,000. So that's what $500,000 buys you in the game. Admittedly, this is the... does it show it? Prefab panels. Interesting. I didn't realize that the Nice Railroad required prefab panels. I thought it just used concrete, but there you go. Half or $250,000 will get you... Let's look on the map. Boop. Where did we get out to? Not quite to the middle of the map. So, this main utility line is going to run up along the mountains. It runs straight shot up from here in the town to where the iron mine is, and then we're going to snake up along here and then do a shot off to where this river mouth is. We'll come up on the right of the river mouth, and then up here where the secondary oil field is. The secondary oil field is quite a bit larger, but it's further away. It is further. So I'm going to do it second. We're going to this one first because it's closer, and it also allows access. Like, this line can be used for coal. No one likes to import coal when you can just dig it out of the ground yourself. So, let's take a gander at why everyone's upset. Still upset about the God thing. People having a hard time finding jobs. And it's not because they're not educated. How many people have no education? There's 1,900 people here hiding somewhere without... Which building are they living in? Where are they? Do I have a homeless population? No, I can't have a homeless population. I've got no homeless. 500 unemployed workers. There's lots of schools. Are people not going to work because they don't have a church? Alright, well, let's do a test then. This little town will be permitted the light of Jesus Christ back into their lives, despite Lenin having some bad things to say about it. So no roads on this one. Doesn't need connection to roads, so I'll just stick it out behind some things. Some shops. And there we go. Turn off auto build. It's a dangerous thing to have ticked off. Alright, let's see. It'll take a while for people who would like to go to church, but it's a lot cheaper to build these two whack-ass monuments than it is to build a radio station and start pumping out the socialist propaganda, which is the goal in the long term. But how much did I don't remember how much these things cost. Radio station cost. Radio stations. $328,000. Rubles, not dollars. That's expensive. Don't have that kind of liquidity. So, I do have room for more employees, but I have 500 employees that won't go to work. Okay, I shouldn't hire anybody else during my religion experiment. So, that's about what it's been at for workers. If it gets up above 400, the building will have been worth it. Why doesn't it show complaints at the city hall? Look at this, escapes. This is what happens when you let your population starve. 2/3 of them move away. I've had 3,900 immigrants and 4,300 people flee because they were starving. I can't really blame them. But blessed are the ones who stayed. Approximately 2,000. Well, just a little under 2,000 of them stuck around. It's just enough to sell some oil. Oh, well, that's not all true. I sold some bulldozers. This place was full of bulldozers. I didn't sell them all, but every empty space you see represents a token of failure. A bulldozer sold when it didn't need to be, or shouldn't have needed to have been. We've got $10,000 again. Let's go see if we can get this line out. Which one was it? This one here. Restart that to finish it. Very good. Now the next little bit it's connected to. 59,000 rubles. How much rubles do we have? This next is a smaller piece at 11. Do that. We're down to 20 now. So this one is 50. We'll call it 50. Oh, and then we're on the loop. Not bad. If I only purchase a single train, it doesn't matter if there's only a single track. It can run down the line back and forth and not have to worry about anyone. Which I'll probably do. The trains themselves, the one I'll buy and kitting it out completely, will be due over 200,000 pesos. So it's a pretty big investment. There's a lot of sitting around and waiting in this game, which is also why I'm going to call it good for now. Say thanks for watching, and we'll pick this up after I've probably finished that railroad, looped it back, and we'll pick it up there. Until then, have a good evening.